everybody. If you're on the East Coast, West Coast, or around the world, this is Coast to Coast. It's the three of us today, and Stat Guy actually has a stat. Weird. What do you got, man?
So can you name the 4 best teams in the NFL points differential wise?
Points differential wise?
Mm-hmm.
The Chicago Bears.
They are 4.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. The Vikings got to be 1 because you made this list.
They are 1.
I'm going to go ahead and say the Lions and the Packers.
Yep, the entire NFC North are the top 4 teams points differential wise.
Look at me, knowing my stuff.
Also knowing that it's Stat Guy, and the only reason he's bringing it up is because it's the North.
No, I would have brought it up if it was any division because that's a cool stat.
I feel like that's lies.
No, if it would have been your division, I would have still brought it up.
How are you guys doing today?
I'm all right. Keeping myself out of trouble. Well, not doing a really good job at that, but I am trying.
So not super hard. I got you.
I'm ready to watch the shit show of the Jets turn into even more of a shit show.
Yeah, so I mean, we might as well talk about that. Davante Adams signs with the Jets. Deal gets done today. And so just for sheer entertainment purposes, which week does Rodgers get hurt? And does Davante try and facilitate another trade or get off the team by the end of the year?
Well, I'm more so interested to see how Garrett Wilson handles this. Because Garrett Wilson has actually started to develop a little bit of chemistry with Aaron Rodgers to the point where he's actually gained a lot of trust from Aaron Rodgers. And now you're bringing him.
He'll still have it as a third option.
Yeah, no. Now Rodgers will be forcing 20 passes at Adams. How's Garrett Wilson going to take it now when he's been getting 15 to 20 targets a game? And now you have Allen Lazard, and then you have Aaron Rodgers basically throwing Mike Williams under the bus yesterday for that game-ending interception.
I don't know how you throw that guy under the bus. It was an underthrown ball.
Yeah, he said he ran the wrong route. Aaron Rodgers flat out said Mike Williams ran the wrong route. I threw the ball where he was supposed to be.
5 yards behind him?
Apparently that's where Mike Williams was supposed to be.
I mean, I feel like even if you were running the wrong route, if it ends in the same place, who cares?
Yeah.
Huh. Okay. Well, I mean, that's Rodgers, though. Yep. Rodgers is always about pointing fingers. Like he's never that it's on me, I got to do better. He's that guy sucks and the coach is terrible. And, I wonder who he's trying to get fired today.
And I mean, you have Adams who leaves from one crap organization to go to another crap organization. So, I mean, hey, I'm with Aaron Rodgers and Allen Lazard again. Shit, I'm still not winning games.
Joe coming in hot. I mean, I don't know if he's washed, but he's.
I mean, he will make the Jets better. Yeah, I can't say that he won't because of the connection that him and Rodgers have. It might only take one game for them to get that connection back. But once they get that connection back, he's going to make the Jets better because now you have Adams and Wilson as 2 trusted options. You have Allen Lazard as another trusted option from when they were in Green Bay together. And then Mike Williams kind of just fades into the dark a little bit.
Yep. Yeah, no, he's taking a nap, but only when Stat Guy's talking.
Not taking a nap. Sorry. Caught off guard here by a post that came up. So,
no, I agree with you, though. Adams will make that team better. Wilson slides into that third option because, obviously his connection with Lazard is better. Basically he's just moving the Packers to the Jets, which whatever. If it works, it works, right?
I mean, next up will be David Bakhtiari.
Sure, why not?
Well, yeah, but they still got to win games. Is the problem.
I mean, it's the Jets. Do you? Do you have to win?
Well, or else it's a big failure. I mean, Joe Douglas is got to be super hot. That seat's got to be burning his butt.
but it's the Jets. So even if it's a failure, you're like, I mean, it's the Jets.
Well, I hear you. I mean, realistically, that game last night, I had to have been a good one.
It was. Yeah.
By 20 at the last few minutes of the game.
Well, so the thing that's funny is the score was interesting because, 7 of those points were that Hail Mary that somehow Rodgers finds ways to connect on. So it's not like it was awesome or anything. Like they had a few key moments that worked. So many missed kicks in this game.
Mm-hmm.
3 missed field goals and a missed extra point. So, I mean, it's funny because the flags weren't really moving, but the way the ball moved, like there clearly was some swirling wind. Because you'd watch the ball go up and then just make a left like that. It was pretty crazy. But yeah, no, I mean, it was an entertaining game. It was entertaining. Certainly better than Sunday night's just snooze fest of a game.
Right.
Which are happening more and more frequently now.
Yeah. I mean, when it's on Thursday, you just kind of assume that that's what it is. You're just like, yeah, Thursday night football. They scheduled some garbage.
Mm-hmm.
The London game. You feel bad for their market because they're just like, oh yeah, we're gonna bring just 2 really bad teams because we know it'll sell out. But when it's a normal primetime game, that's when you're just like, oh, what are we doing right now? Like, can we flex a good game up here? Like that Ravens game would have been fantastic for Sunday Night Football.
And that's a weird thing this year that I've noticed from years in the past too is Sunday night used to always have the best matchups, like better than Monday night, better than like your 3:00 game. Like that was like your ideal matchup. And granted, sometimes like injuries play into a factor where a team that's supposed to be good ends up not being good because of injuries or because a quarterback goes out. Mm-hmm. But if you look at a lot of the Sunday night matchups this year, why the hell would you have the Giants on Sunday night thinking that it's going to be a good game? Because if the Bengals were a halfway decent team, they would have dog watered the Giants all the way out of that stadium. Next week, you have the Jets on Sunday night. Like the teams that they're putting on Sunday night are really teams that aren't even supposed to be that good to begin with. So why are you putting them on Sunday night?
I mean, I realize that they are essentially obligated to give everybody a primetime slot, but usually when it's the bad
teams, they're not. No, they're not.
They give every team a primetime slot.
That's not true.
During the year, everybody gets one.
No, I believe that is not the case.
Whether it's Sunday, Monday, or Thursday.
Yeah, it has to be a Sunday, Monday, or Thursday. It has to be a Sunday, Monday, or Thursday. It doesn't have to be Sunday night. It has to be Sunday, Monday, or Thursday.
Yeah, exactly. Everybody gets at least one primetime game. But usually when they're bad matchups, they're like, oh yeah, you get a Thursday. Al Michaels hates his career. He wants to be done. He talks a lot of shit during the show, which I appreciate because it's usually a bad matchup. So it's entertaining to listen to. But yeah, when they put one of those matchups on a Sunday night or a Monday night, you're like, what are you doing? Like, this is your prime. This is your real prime slot. But
hold on. I think that there is a team that does not have a primetime game.
Really?
Yeah. Hold on. Let me tell you.
Yeah.
The Carolina Panthers.
They usually let everybody have one. Oh, so the Panthers, the London game actually counts as a primetime game.
Not at 9:00 in the morning.
It does. They view it as a primetime game. They because it's different market. So it's not a regional situation. It's a national broadcast.
Because it's technically 7:00 in London when that game is played, so it counts as like a London primetime game, and because it's a different market, that counts as Carolina.
Well, and it's because it's a nationally televised game.
NFL does not look at it that way.
Oh yeah.
Yep. So here's what happens. Jets, 49ers, and Cowboys have 6 primetime games. Chiefs, Bills, Packers, Lions, Bengals, Ravens, Eagles, Dolphins, and Rams have 5. Texans, Steelers, Buccaneers, Seahawks, Falcons, Browns have 4.
Mhm.
Giants, Bears, Chargers, Saints have 3. Vikings, Raiders, Commanders, Broncos, Jaguars have 2. Colts, Patriots, Cardinals, Titans have 1. The Panthers have 0.
That's
and that
surprising.
is from
Yeah.
the NFL Direct.
Yeah, that's surprising. They generally do pretty good about making sure everybody has one. But I mean, honestly, do you want to see the Panthers in primetime? No.
Yeah.
Not at all.
Why not?
Because they are god awful.
That makes it
Well,
fun.
I wouldn't mind seeing. I wouldn't mind seeing that owner like throw water or beer on somebody else.
I mean, yeah. If you're talking about the off the field stuff, sure. Yeah.
But yeah, so no, not every team gets it.
Huh. Yeah, I thought
Go figure.
I thought the NFL tried to make that a thing.
Well, they tried to make it a thing, and if you suck and only win 2 games the previous year, you get 0 games, unless you're a New York Giants or Jets. You know, that's
or a large market.
You're going.
Yeah,
Yeah, I got to imagine the top 4 markets, at least the top 5 markets, are probably going to get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Philly is the 4th largest media market.
Yeah.
Fifth in, I think, actual. Yeah, like I think Dallas actually beats us in terms of population, but we beat that in media market. In essence, there's more people that watch TV in Philly than there is in Dallas.
Yeah, well, I mean, that makes sense, especially when you're thinking wintertime, right? Because the weather is significantly worse the further north you go. Yeah, down in Texas, it's middle of the winter. You can still, pretty comfortably do stuff outside.
How about them Mets having 1 inning? I think it was that got some runs, and they just lived off of that.
I mean, a lot of times that's how it does happen in baseball, especially in the playoffs too, where a lot of the winning playoffs teams score more runs in 1 inning than the other team does the entire game.
And literally, it was like that second inning was like, bam! They got to the pitching, which was a bullpen game, I think, for the Dodgers anyways. But.
Yeah, I mean, you look what the Mets did against the Brewers, too, the game that they clinched. They were down 2-0 heading into the 9th inning, and they scored 4 runs in the 9th. All 4 runs in 1 inning was more runs than the Brewers scored the entire game.
Yep. And that was because they shouldn't have pulled out the pitcher.
Mm-hmm.
Such is life.
Yeah.
I mean, the Mets are just playing pesky. Like, the Mets just don't. I mean, game 1, I think they quit a little bit just because they had such a big deficit early in that game. But for the most part, they have not quit in any game that's this postseason so far. No matter if they're down by 2 runs late or what, they just don't quit, and eventually they capitalize on whatever mistake a pitcher makes.
I found it interesting that they made that the early game.
That's what I said yesterday, too. I was very shocked that New York had the late game last night and Los Angeles basically had a 1:00 in the afternoon LA time yesterday. I thought it was going to be switched where New York would have basically a 4:00 game because of the 4:00 Eastern slot, and then the Dodgers would have their normal 5:00 game because of the 7:00 start.
I mean, they could have done it as 6 and 9.
Yeah.
I mean, realistically, I think that would have been the better way of doing it, but that's why they don't pay me the big bucks. But I mean, there you go. I mean, I think that actually helped the Mets more than anything else. The fact that it was a back-to-back and it was early in the day, you just went out and you didn't do anything the night before in terms of runs scored. So.
Well, yeah, especially since the run production was all early in the game. So, I mean, they just came in, did some work, in like the 2nd or 3rd inning?
Mm-hmm.
Second inning, they scored 5 runs. It was 1 in the first, 5 in the second, and then I think 1 in the 9th or something like that to make it 7.
Yeah, they had the Lindor homer in the first, and then the Vientos grand slam in the second. That was pretty much the 2 big blows.
Yeah, I was score chasing while I was doing stuff yesterday, and they lose the first game, right? It was like 9-0. And then I saw them up 6-0, and I'm just like, oh, okay, we're just going to go every other game here.
Those are the first runs that the Dodgers pitching staff allowed in 33, 34 innings?
34 innings.
Yeah, I mean, the Dodgers are stinking on a roll when it came to pitching. That game, what was that? Game 4 of the Padres series from the third inning on. They didn't give up a run. Then they shut out the Padres in game 5, shut out the Mets in game 1, and then that was like the first.
No. You're getting that wrong.
Was it game 3?
Game 3, in the third inning, they stopped it. So game 4, they shut him out. Game 5, they shut him out. Game 1 was a shutout.
Yeah,
so I mean, that's why they had 34 innings. It is and it's not. First off, it's a weirdo's. That's a LeBron stat.
No, for sure. Yeah. Well, I mean, baseball is nothing but those, right? Like, oh, he's the only one to strike out 5 pitchers with blonde hair and blue eyes and a sunny day. Like, they always have like the weirdest stats for no reason. So, like, I get it from that standpoint, but at the same time, not giving up any runs.
Right.
In playoff baseball is impressive.
No, and I hear that. So it's going to be I think this is going to be an interesting series. I don't believe the Mets have enough to beat the Dodgers. I would prefer them. I don't know that I prefer an all New York World Series.
Subway series.
I know I don't want a Dodgers Yankees series.
That's what Major League Baseball wants, but that's not what most fans want.
Right. Yeah. Because that just tells me, okay, you have $1 billion payroll and you're going to win.
Yeah. You're buying your way in. I mean, it's not like we haven't seen teams do it though. So.
And I tell you what, here's the one thing I will 100% say. If by chance, if the Mets don't win the World Series, and they lose to the Dodgers or they lose to the Yankees or even the Indians, they get Soto. If by chance they, like I said, if they win, they won't bother. They won't bother getting Soto. They won't spend the money.
Well, I think at this point, too, looking at the playoffs that Pete Alonso's had so far, I think it's a foregone conclusion that they're going to bring Pete Alonso back.
No way in hell. No way in hell. I'm telling you, and not for nothing, Mets fans, of course they're cheering for him right now. Mets fans are so tired of him.
Yeah.
Yeah, the fact that he's going on a little bit of a hot streak during the playoffs is going to be helpful, and they're going to thank him, and then they're going to send him on his way. He's going somewhere else. He's not going to get the money that he's going to get somewhere else in New York.
The other player that I think the Mets are going to pursue heavily is Corbin Burns because of David Stearns. David Stearns was the old GM in Milwaukee that helped get Corbin Burns there in the first place. So I have a feeling that if the Mets are looking for a starting pitcher, depending on what happens with Jose Quintana this year, if Jose Quintana comes back, because I think he's like 37 or 38. So if he decides not to come back and the Mets are in the market for another starter, I'm not going to be shocked to see Corbin Burns end up over there.
I also would not be surprised to see Trevor Bauer.
Yep. Trevor Bauer as well. Yep.
In the Mets uniform.
Yep.
You're going to start to see Cohen start to spend money again. Like he spent $1 billion, got rid of it all, and you're going to start to see him spend some money again. I think that he is now close enough to the World Series that he smells it. Mm-hmm. And he's going to now it will be a matter of money. And the Mets still have a big payroll, mostly because they're paying for players that they got rid of.
Yeah. I mean, they're spending $85 million on DeGrom and Scherzer this year, and they're not even on the team.
I mean, that's baseball in general, though. Like, they every team seems to pay guys that aren't on their roster anymore.
Well, going by that number, the Mets actually have the highest payroll this year.
Yeah.
I mean, the fact that they're paying just about $100 million to somebody who's not on the team, a couple somebodies that are not on the team.
Right.
Yep. And got further.
By them not being there? Yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So, although I think DeGrom on this team would have actually stayed. Like they didn't. I think that they may regret, even though DeGrom was hurt this year, and he didn't play a lot. I think they regret that move specific.
Yeah.
But he was the only thing worth anything to be able to lower the payroll.
Yeah.
And I understand why they got rid of him. I just think that, Cohen wishes he had him, especially now.
Yeah. No, I mean, that makes sense.
Especially knowing that the Dodgers are very short-handed starting pitching-wise. If you could have, like, DeGrom in that rotation and make your rotation that much deeper, it makes it tougher for the Dodgers to try to win 3-4 games off of you.
Unlike other teams, the Dodgers, when they're not hitting well in the beginning of the game, they end the game not hitting well.
Mm-hmm.
Dodgers are not a comeback team.
Like to front run?
For the most part. If you look at most of their games, I'd be willing to bet that they haven't come back from many games at all this year.
Yeah. I feel like we got a stat guy that can look that up.
I'm looking that up right now because I think he's right, but I don't know. I don't know how far down there.
You don't. The one thing that I look for a lot of nights is who's hitting walk-offs. Who's walking off with the win. You never see the Dodgers doing that. So the Mets doing it a couple times.
So are they not walking it off because they just have a big enough lead they don't need to?
Well, they're not walking it off because
or they far enough behind that you can't.
Yeah, they don't. When they're losing, they don't come back in the ninth inning.
Yeah.
They may have had a couple, but I would say that that's under 5. In 162 games, that's not a lot at all.
That is not a lot.
Yeah, so when the Dodgers are leading after the 7th inning, or when the Dodgers were leading after the 8th inning, they were 78-2.
When they're leading.
Yeah, so that just goes to show you that they won 93. What did they win this year? 93 games, 94 games. That just goes to show you that they pretty much won less than 20 games.
I can almost bet that the Phillies were the ones that beat them those 2 times.
Probably.
It might have been. That might be the case.
That shows you that they won about 20 games when they were either tied or trailing entering the late part of the game. Doesn't mean they were like trailing.
No, that doesn't really mean that at all. But it doesn't show how many comeback wins they have, right?
Yeah. It doesn't show how many comeback. It just says what their record was when they were leading after the 8th inning. I can't find something that says what their record was when they were trailing.
All right. Well, all right. I got to go do my stat work then, I guess.
Yeah, everything here just shows their record when trailing or when leading, and then it says the Dodgers' record when holding the lead or whatever, and all this other stuff. There's nothing here that says they were trailing. Let me see if I can find something else on it. Here we go.
I don't like that response. So the first thing that popped up was most MLB comeback wins in 2024. The Dodgers have 43 wins after trailing at any point in the game.
Yeah,
which is the most. But that's a LeBron stat.
That's the only one that I could find too. That's
9th inning comebacks 5. 9th inning comebacks 5. Mets 8. Detroit Tigers had 6. The Phillies had 6. The Rangers had 6. And the Marlins had 6.
So when leading after 6 innings, the Dodgers have an .878 winning percentage.
Wow.
When trailing after 6 innings, the Dodgers have a .211 winning percentage.
All right.
It doesn't tell you what their overall record was. It's just like a breakdown where it shows like what your record is leading after 6 and what your record is trailing after 6. Funny thing is, the two teams that had the best record leading after 7 innings, one team had the worst record in baseball history.
Oh, that's funny.
The White Sox record when leading after 6 innings, they had a .902 winning percentage, and the Cubs had a .904.
Wow. They just never got to enjoy that very often.
But when trailing after 6 innings, the White Sox had a .038 winning percentage.
Woo. Ouch.
They were 2-96 when trailing after 6 innings.
That is horrendous. I mean, you almost have to try to lose the way they were losing.
Well, the funny thing is, too, there's 2 games that I remember specifically when the Cubs played them where the White Sox had a 6-0 lead heading into the 7th inning, and by the bottom of the 8th, it was 7-6.
Yeah.
So it's just like, oh, we're up 6-0. Oh, shit, now we're down 7-6.
You know, they needed to be a high school team. 7 innings, that's it.
7 innings, they might have had the best record in baseball at some point.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. If they were a high school team, they'd have been killing it. Although, at the same time, if they had the mercy rule, there's a lot of games that
would have been done after 4 innings.
No, there's definitely been some games where you're like, oh, can we just mercy rule this and keep it moving? Because, man.
And yeah, the one guy said it on Reddit. Oh, here we go. Oh no, it's just talking about biggest comeback. The one guy said there were 16 chances for the Dodgers to walk it off, to walk off win, and they did not do any of them. This was written 4 months ago. 3 months ago.
Okay. So what?
So, I mean, now they've had 3 months after that. So, I mean, there's still a lot of baseball in those 3 months. But
for sure.
At 16 opportunities and not walk off any of them is interesting. Where the Mets actually did eight of those. So.
And how many opportunities they have?
It doesn't say how many opportunities. It just says Ohtani had 8. They got an 8-run. They had 7 runs in the 9th inning one time this year on June 17th against the Rockies, where they came back and won a game 11-9. Where they were down a lot. And actually, in the very beginning of the season, the very first game of the season, they had a comeback win. In Korea.
Oh, I forgot they started the year over there.
Korea.
So.
Forgot about that.
Interesting. But like I said, I don't feel that the Dodgers are a comeback team. They have to take the lead early or within the 7 innings.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of teams in all sports that got a front run. Like they don't have that ability to come back, which is fine. Like I want to watch these guys lose. Like you got $1 billion payroll. I want to see you pack it in.
Right.
Probably because my Mariners never pay anybody. So, so when I watch another team do it, I want them to lose.
Cheapers.
Anyway, that brings us to the half part of the show.
It sure does. Brought to you in part by True Fusion Gym. Use the QR code on the screen. Free 5-day pass, Pilates boot camp, yoga, bar, hot rooms. Find your edge at True Fusion Gym. And of course, if you are into sports betting, you can bet right alongside us here on Coast to Coast by using the QR code on the screen. Although Michael Vick is on the screen, I'm pretty sure there's no dogfighting in that sports book. there is 125% bet guarantee up to your first three deposits, 10% on if you are bad at betting, and of course, restrictions apply. All right, there we go. So Seattle made a move.
They did.
They did. Now, nothing great, but
they moved to Portland, Oregon.
No, fortunately they haven't done that, but they do pick up a defensive lineman, Roy Robertson, from the Jags. So you are dragging the bottom of the barrel if you are hoping to get better by taking players from the Jags, but especially from a Jags team that does not play defense. And they gave up a 6th round pick for 2026 to go get him. That being said, with the amount of injuries that the Seattle Seahawks have had, they need anybody. So hopefully it makes an impact. But again, if the Jags don't want you, based on how they don't play defense, I mean, how good could this guy actually be?
Some people just need a change of scenery.
Yeah,
for sure. And that's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping he can come and make an impact. Certainly he's going to come and play right away because half the defense is, injured. So, but, it's also the first trade of the, free agency, or not free agency, but the first trade of the season before the trade deadline. Then, of course, obviously Devontae Adams happens this morning. But so, with that deadline starting to come up here in a couple of weeks, start seeing some moves.
So, well, good for them. I hope that, you guys are tied for first place right now.
Yeah. Are we, though?
Technically, the Niners have the tiebreaker.
Well, yeah, they got the tiebreaker. But yeah, when 3-3 is leading the division, you're not exactly fired up about it.
Well, you think about it this way. I saw this stat the other day. The Eagles are a Saquon Barkley 2-yard reception away from being 4-1 instead of 3-2.
True. Yeah, that's true.
And realistically, is that that's a LeBron stat if I've ever heard one. You know what I mean? It's like
right.
Yeah, meh. You know what I mean? They still haven't showed me anything. That's like it's funny because I'm looking at the scores from yesterday, like all the scores from yesterday, and that would be like watching a hockey game that ends 8-7.
There was a hockey game that ended 8-7 yesterday.
I know there was. That's why I even mention it, because it was
Kings and Senators.
Yeah, it was like an ugly game. But Claude Giroux did get a goal. Lucky him.
Well, it sounds like everybody got a goal.
Yeah, everyone wanted to play at least 10 minutes.
You get a goal. Everybody gets a goal.
Everyone that wants to play at least 10 minutes of ice time gets a goal.
Just about. The power play was the big thing on both of those games. 3 for 5 by the Kings and 4 for 6 by the Senators. Yeah, their penalty kill both is horrendous, I guess.
Well, there's like 2 penalty kills by the Senators yesterday. One was the first goal that the Kings scored, where how you're kind of supposed to just like stand in front of the person with the puck and try to like shield their lane or whatever. Both the defensemen decided to just lay flat on the ice. So then it was a one little touch pass shot.
Well, and we haven't spoken about hockey yet at all because the Flyers have been on the West Coast. So at least it's hard for me to stay awake and watch those games, but I have been. I've stayed awake, and game 1, we always, for some reason or another, beat the Canucks. Can't figure that out why. But we always start off the season with them, whether they play here or we play there. But we always win. We are like 8-0-2 in the last 10 years for home openers or for opening the season. Our home opener is like the last home opener of the season. Actually, there's no home openers after us. we start off ours on Saturday, our home opener. But right now, there are two teams that are undefeated and a couple of teams that haven't won a game yet. One, the Flyers are playing tonight, Edmonton. And, for a Stanley Cup champion to start off 0-3, or Stanley Cup contender, to start off 0-3. I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of McDavid a little bit.
Yeah.
I think that he is a biatch, a straight biatch. I think that he's a little bitch. And that's why they can't win at all. Your Detroit Red Wings are stinking up the joint, by the way.
They are. Well, they've stunk up the joint in 2 games, and they played well for the other game. And right now we have to figure out what we're doing at goalie. Because the goalie that entered the season was Ville Husso, who gave up 4 goals and 14 shots against the Penguins in the season opener and then got placed on waivers. That's how his year went. And then we started 38-year-old Cam Talbot in game 2 and stopped all 40 shots that he saw against the Nashville Predators. And then we went back to Alex Lyon last night, who was the starter for most of the season last year. And first 2.5 periods, he was good. He stopped 24 of 26 the first 2.5 periods. And then the third period, he gave up 2 goals in the third period. So right now, same issue we had last year. We didn't really have consistent goaltending. We had like one goalie in Lyon that got hot for about 20 games. But outside of that, they were not consistent. That's what the Red Wings need right now. They need to figure out if they're going to stick with Talbot, if they're going to stick with Alex Lyon, or if they're going to go get somebody else.
Well, they're going to probably need to go get somebody else, is what I think. And there's a possibility that the Flyers are going to have an abundance of goaltenders right now. As of right now, we got Ersson, who played great in the first game. And then you got that monster goalie, the 6'7" kid from Russia. But the other kid from Russia is here now. So, and he's got to get a little bit of seasoning back in because he was in the Army for a little while in Russia. So he's just got to get back into the swing of things there. But he's going to probably be the guy who's going to be the goaltender here. And on top of that, I believe that the goaltender who's in the AHL is also a really good goaltender here for the Phantoms. So there are a number of goaltenders. Goaltenders is not deficient in Philadelphia right now.
Yeah, I think my Kraken look like they're going to be just kind of that scrappy team that's not going to go anywhere this year, but they're going to be entertaining to watch. They're 1-2 on the season, and it's been close games, right? Like it's been a goal difference, but with a new coach and some new players, and they just seem like a team that it's probably going to take them a little while to get going.
Yeah, they lost to the Dallas Stars are a tough game. They won a shootout win against the Stars, and then the Blues lost to the Blues.
Yep.
Well,
they should be
it's early yet. It's early yet.
No, exactly. That's what I mean. They seem like a team that will get better as it goes. They'll be an entertaining watch. I just don't think they're going to be. They're probably not going to be a playoff team, but they're going to be. They're going to be kind of like the Mariners, right? Like they're going to be just short.
Is it a Seattle thing?
And it's feeling that way this year, isn't
it? There's some losses too in hockey that I'm okay with. Like last night's loss to the Rangers, I was fine with because Igor Shesterkin played out of his goddamn mind last night, and I think he's had 42 saves on 43 shots, and 12 of them were what they call like high leverage saves, where the saves are where it was like a 7.5 goal expectancy on some of those saves that he made. So it's just like you put 43 shots on frame, and when your goal expectancy is to be like 7.5, 8, and you're only coming away with 1 goal, got to tip your hat. And Shesterkin really earned his pay last night.
He only had 32 saves or 30.
Oh, they said 42 on the broadcast last night. So maybe they meant 32.
Yeah, it's
some of the saves that he made last night was just absolutely absurd. And then you had the Red Wings coach after the game and post game basically laughing, saying, "I can see why he turned down $88 million."
Who turned down $88 million?
Shesterkin.
Because he wants more.
He wants $12 million a year for 10 years. And the Rangers gave him, I think they gave him an 8-year or six, or it could have been a 6 or an 8-year, $88 million deal, and he said he wants 10 years at 120. So he wants basically $12 million a year, and the Rangers offered him around $8.5 million a year.
And that their first line is killing it already.
Yeah, Zibanejad and Panarin and
yeah, Panarin. Yeah, I've always been a Zibanejad fan. And I'm not exactly sure why, because I hate the Rangers. But
he's just a good player. Like he's like does everything right. Like you have players like I know you hate Connor McDavid, but you have players like McDavid who are offensive minded players that don't play any defense at all. And then you have some of those players that are defensive minded players that struggle to get offense. But then you have Zibanejad, who is an offensive minded player first, but he still knows how to play defense on the defensive end of the ice.
Maybe that's what it is, because I love watching good hockey, and a good hockey player will shine. And for instance, when you ever watch the Rangers play the Capitals, don't know what it is about those two teams playing, but Zibanejad has got like more goals against the Capitals than every other team in the NHL.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I've watched him score, I think, 4 goals against the Capitals, 5-goal games against the Capitals. I mean, he's just...
It's the Alexander Ovechkin effect, because when he came up to the Rangers, he basically said like his childhood hero growing up was Alexander Ovechkin. So when he goes up against Ovechkin, he kind of tries to like one up him, like, "Hey, this is why I grew up watching you. Look what I can do."
Okay, which makes sense.
Yeah, get a little your self-imposed bulletin board material.
Yeah, like with Zibanejad, like he's one of like there's very seldom like a forward that you're gonna see like throw his body on the ice to try to stop a puck on the other end, just because that's not their game. Zibanejad will throw his body in front of a stick. He'll throw his body in front of a puck and take one for the team, because he's like a complete like both ends of the ice type of player.
Yeah, it's the one I know of that I think of like right off the top of my head, but can really only go off of like from 3 years ago is Couturier. I mean, that's why he got the captaincy, because he was always a Selke Award winner?
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
Yeah, it's like you get the Selke Award. Zibanejad is kind of very similar to that. Had a down year last year, but came on in the playoffs. And, obviously they didn't get, to the Stanley Cup. But
I mean, his down year last year would have been a good year for 90% of other people, too.
Well, he only had 26 goals last year.
Yeah,
which is way down for him. Like he should be a high 30s, low 40s goal scorer.
Yeah, he averages 35 and 35 basically. He averages 35 goals and 35 assists a year.
So, what I am happy to see about my hockey team is that one, Michkov, I think he got 1 assist in the last game. You could tell that he's got the skills to be able to play with the puck. Like his back was turned to the goal, and although he shot it right at the goalie, he was able to go between his legs and on the backhand behind him, shoot it on net. And that was with his back turned to the goal, right at the corner. I haven't seen a Flyer be able to do that I don't think I've ever seen a Flyer be able to do that.
Maybe the Lindros days.
Yeah, but Lindros was a power guy. So, he never made the turnaround. He could do some stick handling, but he wasn't really that guy. He was better at shooting the puck, and he was just a monster that you couldn't get out of the way. So,
power, not finesse. I got you.
Much more power than finesse. Had a little bit of finesse in his game, because that's why he was able to do some of the things he was able to do, but not enough.
Yeah.
Finesse. He was all power. this guy is all finesse, speed and finesse, and has the skills. Like they said, when you watched him do it, you watched that they showed that replay 4 or 5 times over again, and you're just like, wow, that was actually. I mean, the shot sucked because the goalie was right there.
Sure.
And he shot it up into him. Would have been better if it was on the ice. Probably still would have been blocked.
Sure.
But would have been better on the ice because it would have given up a rebound where his shot did not give up the rebound. And that's just going to come with a little bit of time, but also just the way that he is. But Frost and Farabee initially from the eye test look like that they have turned the corner and they have started to become potentially really, really good hockey players. So it's going to be interesting to watch that.
Yeah.
Maybe they could score a power play goal, though, because they were the worst in the league last year. And we are back on our shorthanded goals. We got a shorthanded goal already. So
maybe they should just play a man down the whole time. I wish my team could score a freaking power play goal right now.
Well, I hear you.
We're like 1 for 14.
We're 3 games in. lot of hockey left.
We're freaking like 1 for 14 in power play goals right now.
Yeah. Well.
And that's with a line of Patrick Kane, Dylan Larkin, and stinking Lucas Raymond.
Awesome.
Still, 79 games left. I think it'll be all right. It'll come back around.
I was told to let everybody know we are going to have the Halloween contest, the PSG Halloween contest. Get painted up as PSG for potential to win some big prizes.
Oh, that's awesome. Where's that happening?
Anywhere.
Oh, you don't have to be on site?
You could be painted up as PSG there, Bo, and possibly win this contest.
Good stuff.
Yeah, Chris, we said that first thing this morning.
Yep. So what are the prizes like? What are people winning? Like you can't just drop it like that.
I can't answer that yet because I have to make that a 100% official. And I have learned that when I do contests, that there has to be a full set of rules.
Yes.
So, or else people will like to try to sue. However, truth of the matter is that they can't sue you if you don't give out a prize.
True.
So, and I learned that too because somebody tried to sue me a little too premature, and then I never was able to give out a prize. And it's not a contest if there's no prizes.
There is that.
Hey, I got sued yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes sense, but what for?
Apparently, I have $892 in unpaid doctor bills, which I never received an invoice for. And I went through like all my doctor bills and like all my doctor bill receipts, and all the invoices I have are under my wife's name, and this one's supposedly under my name. So I'm going to court on November 4th, basically be like, how can I pay something that I don't know even exists? Like I have all my doctor bill receipts. I have all the doctor bills that I paid under my name. I don't have anything that shows I owe $892. So I don't know where this bill came from or why I never got it.
That's always fun.
No, not really, because I would have had it paid a long time ago had I knew it existed. I can't pay anything if I don't know what's out there.
I mean, it doesn't even necessarily mean it's actually yours.
Exactly.
So, that's one of those things. I mean, and this is a good practice for anybody watching. Keep an eye on your credit report because people do find a way to get your info, and you'll just end up with like a random delinquency that then you have to fight. So, keep your eye open for those things.
I was told here I am being told, I'm getting updated as we speak because they must be watching me do this. There will be big prizes.
Big. So physically big or just kind of like cool big?
I can't answer that question either. They will be big, though. There will be big prizes.
Way to give out information with no information. I like it.
What was that movie? I can't even remember. It was like a game show or something that they showed in the movie. Big money, big prizes. I love it.
I have no idea.
I don't remember. I just remember. It's like it just came into my head as I'm reading this. It's just like
that is hilarious. Yeah,
and it might. I'm trying to think if it was. I don't know if it was Running Man. Might be Running Man because it sounds something very similar.
That. I love that movie. That movie was hilarious.
That was a great movie.
That's one I'm surprised they haven't remade yet. Right, in the land of remaking every movie ever, how have they not remade that?
Who would you have do it? Who would you have do it?
If they remade that thing? I mean,
wow, it actually has it right here. Big money, big prizes. I love it. Smash TV.
Oh, okay, not familiar with that one.
Super Smash TV. I don't remember. It was a video game, I guess.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no clue.
Yeah, it was. Wow. Because that's what I wrote down. I wrote down big money, big prizes. I love it. It came right up. Smash TV, Super Smash TV.
Huh.
It was a video game, so it wasn't a movie. There we go. See, I know I'm talking some sense.
Man,
and it is open to the public.
Okay.
So everybody has the opportunity to win these big money, and big prizes.
You know, they would probably end up casting like The Rock or John Cena or something for it. I don't think it'd be a good fit, but I could see him doing it.
Yeah, The Rock I could see better. As I'm trying to think of somebody else who would maybe it would be better if it wasn't a monster dude.
Yeah, well, I mean,
put Kevin Hart in there if you don't want a monster dude.
I mean, you can't have Kevin Hart, man. You cannot have Kevin Hart.
That's way too far the other way. But I mean, what they had when they redid Total Recall, what they used Colin Farrell for that, right?
Yeah, I wouldn't use Colin Farrell either. See, I like Jason Statham. I don't know that the English accent works there.
Yeah, Adam Sandler. There's something wrong with you, Chris. Yeah, I couldn't do Statham there.
Chris Pratt.
Chris Pratt, like he came to mind. I think he's too funny.
Yeah,
he doesn't do enough real acting.
He was good in the Jurassic World movies, though.
Yeah, okay.
Because he had to be, that was like one of his movies that he had to be not funny on because it was more of a serious setting for the Jurassic World movies. Like he did good in those.
Yeah, and I mean, you do have the dumb one-liners that have to happen. So I mean,
right,
to keep it true to the.
Yeah, I mean, he'd have to get. I mean, I guess there's like Mark Wahlberg could be a potential, but he's
do it.
Very short. He's very short. So that would be the hard part about that. And he's getting old now. So like as I'm trying to think of guys that are like Spider-Man. The guy who played the kid that plays Spider-Man.
You know who could do it? I don't know why I'm mind blanking the actor's name. The guy that played John Ryan, the John Ryan series, was on The Office.
I didn't watch anything of the Ryan Reynolds could be one.
Reynolds, like Krasinski, I think is his last name. What the hell is that guy's name?
Yeah, I don't know.
I got to look it up because now it's just going to bother me anyway.
Yeah. Anyways.
John Krasinski.
Yeah, John Krasinski. So like he did the John Ryan series on Amazon. Was pretty solid in that. So I could see something like that. I can see something like that. Ryan Reynolds.
Daniel Craig could do it if he wouldn't have the British accent.
Right. And you know who I'm thinking of? The guy who plays Jack Reacher in the television show, not the movies.
Yes.
He's a bigger dude, but he's an unknown bigger dude. And I think that he would be the perfect guy for that because he is also really good with those one-liners and just, being dry funny.
Alan Richardson? Alan Richardson or whatever?
Is that his name?
I have no idea.
He's massive.
I know the guy you're talking about, though.
He's massive.
He is a monster dude, but he's unknown. He's an unknown dude, and that's what makes it better. I don't want The Rock. I don't want the guy who plays who was the guy that plays the blue guy in Galaxy, Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. The wrestler guy.
Yep. But same Captain America, maybe too. Like the Captain America guy could do it.
Yeah, I could
see the guy that you're talking about right now, though, from the Reacher series, was in Fast X also.
Well, he's been in a couple of things.
He was like the rival to Vin Diesel in the last Fast and the Furious, and like he's probably a bigger human than Vin Diesel is. I'm just like, Jesus, where do they get these big humans?
Well, Vin Diesel isn't actually that big. Like
Vin Diesel is like 5'9".
Yeah, like he's not a huge guy.
So, and that's what makes him look more jacked because he is small.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yep.
Either way.
Some random stuff to wrap up the show. Thanks for everybody hanging out. Be sure to like and subscribe. Helps us bring our content to you. And of course, if you're watching on Roku, be sure to stay tuned for the next hour. Other than that, see y'all tomorrow.
Later, guys.